We all know how Rian Johnson sneaks a lot of things into his movies, and of course, Knives Out 2 is no different. So while you were busy figuring out who the culprit was, you might have missed out clues that were hidden in the background. This is why in today's video, we broke down some of the most important things we saw, like cameos and clues to the case. You can thank us later, guys. First off, we have the masks. In The Glass Onion, the story takes place at the height of the COVID pandemic, so it might make total sense that there were so many coronavirus references. For instance, one of the most obvious scenes was when the characters arrive in Greece to take a boat to Miles Bryant's island, where they all wear masks. And according to Kate Hudson, if you notice the way each character uses them, it shows what kind of person they are. Of course, Birdie Jay's mask is a great example of this. Since it's made of chainmail and it's completely useless, it's also a boring way to show that you're following the rules. On the other hand, Duke Cody isn't wearing one at all, and Blanc is wearing a reusable mask that's good for the environment. So even this tiniest detail about a person could tell you so much about them, which is what the director was trying to show. Up next, there's Among Us. When Blanc is on a video call with a bunch of stars, they play the game Among Us. During the pandemic, the murder mystery game was a big hit. And since we're in the middle of a mystery, we think this is a pretty smart move. The call also had a few fun references. Angela Lansbury's username is MSheSolved, which is a reference to the famous movie detective she played on the TV show Murder, She Wrote. Natasha Lyonne, on the other hand, will soon be in Johnson's new crime thriller, Poker Face. Stephen Sondheim helped write the murder mystery The Last of Sheila, which starred Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he also starred in the detective movie Fletch. Moving on to the Beatles song. When the title of the movie was first revealed to be Glass Onion, a lot of us turned to Blanc to try to figure out what it meant. But after seeing the movie, we know that it refers to both the bar where the group of friends first met and Miles's glass house in the middle of his island. It's also the name of a song by the Beatles that plays at the end of the movie. Paul McCartney wrote it as a joke about how people take the band's lyrics too seriously. So Johnson's use of the song is both a cheeky nod to McCartney's words and a red herring to get people to pay attention to something else. Also worth mentioning is that Norton's character plays the guitar part to the Beatles song Blackbird, which was of course super cool. Now for some amazing cameos. If you're a fan of director Rian Johnson, then you'll know to look for his signature, a cameo by Noah Segan. The actor has been in pretty much all of Johnson's movies and TV shows, from the first Knives Out to Star Wars, The Last Jedi, and even the episode of Breaking Bad that Johnson directed. So there was no way that he wouldn't make it to this movie as well. He appeared as Miles' mystery roommate on the island role, but sadly, this time it doesn't do too much. He mostly hangs out in the background while chaos breaks out, but it's still a pretty hilarious cameo. What's more is that the voice of the clock on the island makes another great cameo that you might have missed in the movie. It was crazy when we noticed that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the voice behind the scary hourly dong sound. Also, this is the actor's second cameo in a Knives Out movie. In the first one, he voiced a sitcom in the background, which was also really cool. Another very funny cameo is when Benoit and Andy Helen find Miles' trainer, who turns out to be Serena Williams, the famous tennis player. And while she's on a video call waiting for him, she's reading a book called Gravity's Rainbow. This was a reference to the first movie in which Blanc tells Marta that no one's ever read Thomas Pynchon's book that won the Pulitzer Prize. Not to mention Miles' murder mystery game. We recently found out that Miles' murder mystery game has some important clues about what will happen later. In both the fake game and the real murder, the answer is hidden in plain sight. For the fake game, it's Birdie's necklace, and for the real murder, it's the napkin Miles has on his office. He also tries to take credit for the game, saying that he was the one who made it, but later admits that he hired the author, Gillian Flynn, who wrote Gone Girl, to do it. Much like how he stole the idea for his business from Janelle Monáe's character, Helen. Finally, the billionaire uses fake blood packet to show that he's dead, which reminds us of how Blanc fakes Helen's death by using hot sauce. Let's not forget to talk about Gillian Flynn. Miles tells Blanc that Flynn, who wrote the book Gone Girl, came up with the idea for the murder mystery game, but he says pronounces her name wrong, which seems to fit well with how egotistical his character is. The author herself then went on to Twitter and praised the movie, telling us how she had so much fun watching it and that it was the most clever, funny, and twisty movie she's watched in the past year. She then also thanked Johnson for mentioning her name in the movie, saying that she loved the clever red herring, where her name was mispronounced. But either way, she felt honored to be included, no matter the pronunciation. Coming up, there are a lot of games mentioned in The Glass Onion. When we first met Benoit, it seems like he's in a slump and can't find any new mysteries to solve. Leon says in Among Us that their group has also played Codenames and Quiplash, which were also mystery games. Later in the movie, he talks about how game Clue is. It's possible to focus on different games and puzzles showed by Blanc. We're looking for a complicated answer with what turned out to be a simple mystery. When Helen Brand pretended to be her twin sister, Andy accuses Miles of being the killer. Benoit immediately shoots it down by saying that the tech leader wouldn't be dumb enough to kill someone he was a public enemy with. But funny how that's exactly what happened. Following that, despite Miles' company being called Alpha, Omega symbols that scattered throughout the island getaway. The guy made a lot of money when he started the tech company Alpha. Omega, though, is the Greek letter that shows up most often in the movie. The first time the group sees it is on the boat that takes them to the island. It is also the robe worn by Catherine Hahn's character, Claire de Bella, and a pin on Lionel's dinner outfit. Alpha and Omega are the first and last letters of the Greek alphabet, so they're often used to mean the beginning and the end. Omega's presence could hint at the movie's themes of jumping between the past and the future, and also show how Miles' empire got off to a shaky start and could soon be coming to an end. Next, Duke mentions he was almost pancaked by Miles in his Porsche. Johnson drops a hit about the whole mystery right away when everyone is at the pool. Duke makes fun of the time when he was riding his motorcycle and Miles almost hit him with his famous blue Porsche in front of Andy's house. Duke knew it was him because he recognized the car. The billionaire loves that car so much that he bought a small version of it. At first, no one notices the comment because the YouTuber makes it sound like he or she did it while drunk. This makes it look like he had nothing to do with Andy's mysterious death. But if you noticed, Duke was talking about how he saw his friend leave the scene of the crime. Moving on to how Helen's suspect chart puts Miles above everyone else. As they try to figure out what's going on, Helen and Benoit have the most fun relationships in the whole movie. And Helen is quick to make a list of suspects in her sister's notebook with a grid of motive and opportunity, so she can check each person's name if they have a reason to kill her sister. But the director is smart enough to leave a small clue in Miles' notebook that points towards him being the killer. Helen writes his name next to motive and opportunity instead of below the line on the page. Don't you think this is likely a hint that his motive and opportunity are more important than everyone else's? And finally, keep an eye on the art. There's a whole lot of great art in the background of the film, including works by Rothko and Jeff Koons, and of course Matisse in the bathroom. And a lot of those signs tell us that Miles isn't the genius he acts like he is. In fact, one clue is that the artwork in the background is an original Rothko painting and is turned upside down, which, if you think about it, was pretty dumb of him. Other than that, when he says that he keeps the real Mona Lisa painting in his mansion, he says that they made him put a sensor on the case that closes it when there is a loud noise or a lot of heat. But Miles said he put in a button that will open the case again if this happens. In the end, Helen uses this to her advantage by setting the clear on fire that burns down the mansion and destroys the Mona Lisa. By breaking the rules, he brings about his failure. And on that note, that's a wrap for this video. What did you think about all these details from the movie that you might not have noticed? Were there any others that we missed too? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.